You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Last night on Lifetime, they debuted a 6-part documentary on the singer R. Kelly that is burning up social media. It is Surviving R. Kelly and tells a story of many of the women who say that they were victims of R. Kelly, some who say that he was involved with them, others who say involved with family members. It was a stunning first night. Nearly 2 million people watched it on Lifetime, and of course also was trending on Twitter as well. Here's an excerpt from the documentary.
Our daughter, Azriel Clary, has been with R. Kelly about 3 years now. She fell in love with someone that is a predator.
It's been almost 2 years, and we still haven't seen our daughter. We both was blindsided. We didn't know about the storm was coming.
My daughter, Dominique, has been in his life for 9 years. Any man that don't let their mother see their child, see their mother, and she still living, you ain't got no heart. I'm not giving up. I'm not. My plan is just to go into the hotel. I know she's there. God didn't leave me here and then take it away. I came too close. Come on, we leaving? Come on. It's okay, baby. It's okay.
All right, folks, and my next guest, also, you saw her last night. She's a former protege of R. Kelly. Her name is the singer Sparkle. Here we'll first play a clip of her from last night's documentary.
When the trial began, this was a big media event, so it was a real circus.
The prosecution, their entire case was the tape. R. Kelly and an underage girl having sex.
They turned down the lights and they put it on, and it's grim.
Like, you hear things, but to see it visually, and for her to be so young. My oldest brother did get on the stand, and he said that it wasn't her. It wasn't my niece on the tape.
Before the verdict came down, I saw Sam Adams Jr., who was sitting next to R. Kelly, turn to him and say, "We did everything we could." And the mood in the room was very much that he was about to be a condemned man.
The series everyone is talking about.
All right, folks, and again, joining us right now is Sparkle. Sparkle, glad to have you here on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
It was hard watching this last night as someone who had to go through this up close and personal. How was it for you to see the reaction to the first 2 parts of this docuseries last night?
Wow, rough for you. It was really rough for me. Yeah, I had a bevy of emotions again. Angry, and to learn a lot more things that I didn't know. It was hard. And
when you talk about, first of all, there were things that you were aware of, there were other folks involved, but then also to see all of these stories meshed together, to see the other women, to hear individuals, men who were in his camp, talk of describing when his personal aide being at the wedding of R. Kelly and Aaliyah, and then hearing his brother who's in prison say, "Well, look, I like older women, and Robert, he likes younger women. That's just folks' taste." I mean, it was a whole lot to deal with in 2 hours.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it will continue tonight. You know, the people involved and my involvement in it really was because I basically got the ball rolling with the tape of my niece being on the tape. Robert having taped them, filmed them, and then when I was able to view the tape via a lawyer here in Chicago, I called the authorities immediately. I didn't wait a day, a second, an hour, even a year. I called them immediately.
And you talk, first of all, I remember that period because I was running blackamericaweb.com and somebody had actually, that tape began to circulate. And somebody had sent the tape to our offices in Dallas. And so I remember it was unmarked. And so, you get this tape and you pop it in and you're like, okay, say what?
What did you just see, right?
And you're going, okay, that's R. Kelly. And again, as somebody who was looking at this, instantly you're like, that's not a woman. That's a girl. And I think what a lot of people forget, and I've seen people already on social media saying that, well, he was acquitted. I was in Chicago for 6 years, and I ran the Chicago Defender. And when he was acquitted, people forget the jury did not say that was not R. Kelly on the tape.
Exactly.
What the jury said is they could not determine the age of the girl on the tape. His defense threw out that, that was somebody who looked like him. No, the jurors were clear. That's R. Kelly. They couldn't ascertain the age of the young girl who we now know is your niece.
Yes. And you know what? What's unfortunate is there were 12 other people who attested to her age, and like her basketball coach, teachers. There were law enforcement in the suburb that we grew up in that came forward and testified. So even if they don't believe me, these other 11, 12 people who aren't family, why not believe them?
You, in the clip we played, you which we'll see tonight, when you said that your brother testified, said, no, it wasn't her. And you clearly, even now, was stunned to even have to still think about that. One, is there a relationship there? Two, for the other people who continue to defend him, who you knew, who were in his camp, have you seen any of them, and have you said, what the hell is wrong with y'all?
Yeah, you know what? Luckily, I haven't seen too many of anybody because I'm kind of a loner and I kind of stay to myself. But as far as my brother is concerned, him stating that it wasn't her on the tape, in the very beginning when I called the family and then called the authorities, he said to me, I knew something was happening. And I'm like, well, dang, like, why you ain't clue me in? Because the wool's over my eyes at this point. I'm blinded by something that I'm not seeing, clearly. So why didn't you clue me in? But, at the end of the day, he said what he said. And, now people see and know that, what I said was real and was true. I stand by my truth. And I've been saying this since the tape surfaced. And even before the tape surfaced, I went to the authorities and had them to look in on my niece and my family because, my hands were tied. And basically they told me that there's not too much I can do because I'm not her mom or her dad, just an aunt. I have limited, I guess, nothing I really could do.
People also, again, forget that it was 6 years before he went on trial.
Yeah,
so
they took it a long time.
And again, I remember watching the trial, and what I watched in terms of the coverage. And so what many people speculated was that because your niece, if I'm correct, she testified, didn't she?
No, she didn't testify.
Okay, but there were other young girls who testified, and the problem is they showed photos of them earlier, and jurors were sitting here dealing with the fact that, okay, I'm now listening to a who is now a woman, but you're trying to get me to think about her when she was a girl, and now they having to deal with that as well.
Yeah. So, that was a little play on things, too. I think they drudge it out so long so that she could age, and that, if they did show a photo, they'd be like, nah, well, I'm not sure. Okay, well, it looks like her, but I'm not really sure. So, they had a game plan. During
this whole point, did your niece and her family remain in Chicago? Because I know there were other individuals, there were stories where folks were sent out, they were sent away, and there was one family that went to France that lived in a shotgun house in Chicago, and you're going, Okay, I don't know how that vacation, was paid for.
Hmm. I don't know for sure. You know, you hear rumors, and you can't, can't completely say that, my family was in the country or out of the country. I heard rumors that they did leave the country, but they've remained in the Chicagoland area today. However, Robert had the resources to do a bunch of things, and,
He couldn't stop this from being aired. We know for a fact that several of his representatives, his legal team, his publicists, all his folks left. And of course, he's had concerts that are shut down. The final part airs tomorrow night.
Yes.
What do you hope is next? Because again, he hasn't been prosecuted. He's never been convicted. And there are people, and there are lots of people out here, men and women, who still say, I don't care. I'm gonna listen to his music. I'm gonna go see him. What do you think should happen next?
Well, I hope that people will watch the rest of the series. I'm sure it's more riveting than the first 2 episodes. I haven't seen the episodes at all, so I'm watching it with everybody else, and I'm cringing, to see everything that's happening, with these young girls. I'm not a survivor. I'm just speaking up for my niece. Even though that even if she doesn't want to speak up for herself, or she can't for some reason, I just wish that everybody would watch, take notes, moms, dads, with your young girls, and even there are middle-aged girls that are involved as well. So, you have to just be mindful of the predatory person that could sneak in and do these types of things to your kid. Because, hey, they could be standing right next to you, sitting right next to you. I wrote a song, that my new single out, We Are Ready, that is a part of the piece. And it's very moving, very heartfelt, very women empowered, very Me Too, time's up. And it speaks to the time. So I'm hoping that everybody watches and really take notes of what's going on. Our community, it's sad to say that, we will shun the victims or the survivors, if you will,
right,
and be okay with, I'm still going to listen to him. I'm still going to, whatever with him, because he's R. Kelly. Come on, y'all. Come on.
Do you still have a relationship with your niece?
We have a relationship. This may have set us back. Recently I lost my mom in October, and, it's just been a rough time for us. So hopefully, with God and we can get through this, again, I was estranged from them for 10 years because I spoke out. They didn't want me to speak out. So
when you say they, you meaning?
My family. I was estranged from my family for 10 years. We only started talking back again in 2011 when our parents' 50th anniversary was, and we gave them a big, to do.
Wow. And in all those years, you and your niece have not discussed any of this?
I still handle her with kid gloves because this thing is serious. Like, I don't want to be the one to, for her real breakdown. She's beautiful on the outside, but I know she's screaming on the inside.
Sparkle, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. We'll be watching tonight and certainly tomorrow night as well.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a bunch. I want to go to my panel here. It's very interesting, Julian, to see these reactions. You had a young woman who was in last night's episode who said she and others saw R. Kelly having sex with Aaliyah. Aaliyah's mom puts out a statement today saying it's flat out not true. The woman and so-called backup singer in the forthcoming Survivor documentary that describes seeing, meeting, or even breathing the same air as my daughter, Aaliyah, yes, pull it up, please, is lying and is a liar. My husband and I were always on tour with her and at interviews in every place she went throughout her entire career. Whoever this woman is, I have never seen her before anywhere on planet Earth until now. These lies and fabrications cannot be tolerated and allowed to be spewed from the forked tongues of saboteurs of Aaliyah's legacy. My daughter owns finally wanted to realize her dream of sharing her talent with the world and give her all performing on stage and in front of the camera for the fans she adored so much. She realized that dream thanks to those true fans who still love and support her legacy unconditionally to this day. Shame on all those involved in this project who thought it kosher to drag Aaliyah's name into a situation that has nothing to do with her today. Once again, this will not be tolerated. Sincerely, Diane Houghton. Yet you had the guy who was R. Kelly's personal aide who said, I was there at the wedding. I witnessed it. I forged the marriage license. There was also an annulment.
Denial is a horrible thing. I mean, this mother has got to come to grips with her abdication of responsibility for her daughter. And the only way for her to do it, frankly, is to cover up. I wasn't there. I don't know anything. What I do know is that, you know, when there's smoke, there's fire. And there's a whole lot of smoke around R. Kelly and young women. And the fact is that so many people think it's okay to exploit women. And so many women have been socialized to use themselves as tools of exploitation. So many women believe that they use their sex and sexuality to get ahead, and there are many men who will profit from that. R. Kelly is a predator. I mean, I have no doubt about that. He is a predator of young women, and this is something that our community, Roland, has to really speak up about.
Cleo, I've seen a bunch of men attacking the sisters on social media saying, he wasn't found guilty. This is an attack on black men. These are white folks trying to bring down black men. Black people should not be used against other black people. There are folks posting videos saying, I don't care. I'm going to still listen to his music. I don't care what you think. And all of a sudden, we've also seen other people in the documentary, Nelson George talked about it. He said, this is well known throughout music. He began to bring up other artists, whether it's Jerry Lee Lewis, whether it's Elvis Presley, whether it's Chuck Berry, Woody Allen. I mean, so as somebody who deals with behavior, what do you say to black people? Like, forget anybody who's white in this whole, what do you say to black people having this kind of conversation in our community?
Well, first off, what's real clear to me is that the power of celebrity is pretty amazing. This dude said he believed folks can fly. And they have flown out of logic, common sense, and their capacity to discern what's good and what's bad. This man's concerts still sell out. But you ask me, how do I feel about black people who ignore that? I think that we need to understand that we live in a country that has taught black people to have a fear of irrelevance. And what I mean by that is that this country implies that we're not relevant. So when someone actually makes it to the heights of great relevance and success, they're really, really respected. And they're really looked up to because they've made it to the point of being profoundly relevant and successful, quote unquote. And also I think this is similar to what you were talking about, Dr. Malvo, is that what happens to women is considered, oh well, they're women.
Especially black girls.
Especially black girls, but even black female adults. They're women. They're essentially not valued in a society. They should be glad to be there. And there's some men who have the perspective that you just mentioned in terms of they're trying to bring down a brother, who are thinking to themselves that they're trying to bring down a brother because brothers they try to bring down brothers. This is a very complex issue because the dude is guilty. I saw the video. I saw the video a long time ago, and it's him.
That was a girl.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A child.
Was 12
it was clear.
or 13
A child.
or 14.
But I wouldn't just...
No, the reason I'm saying girl, because a lot of people keep saying she was a woman.
No, you're right.
And I need to have a distinction.
That's important.
Because they kept, and people were going back and forth. I'm like, no. I'm like, I need y'all, even, like, well, Aaliyah was 15. No. She was still a teenager. She was not a woman. But these people are caught up in it.
But this girl
was grown.
Grown.
This girl,
Eugene.
This girl, Aaliyah, etc., are considered in some people's minds lucky to have been there
and disposable.
And in fact, some of the women in the video in the documentary talked about, look, I just wanted to build my career. That was what it was all about. Eugene, what we're dealing with, we're also dealing with a culture that highly sexualizes black girls.
Yeah.
This whole deal of, oh man, look at me, she stacked, she 14, 15. She 14, 15.
15, that's
okay, she ain't a woman.
Yep.
She ain't legal. She's a girl. She's a teenager. Eugene, go ahead.
It's a mess. I'm just real quick rapid fire. There's a lot of trash men, a lot of trash black men that are defending R. Kelly. This is literally indefensible.
No, they're women too.
And
No,
women.
Lots of women.
But just in respect of what's going on in social media, of black men attacking women that are, coming at R. Kelly. I mean, this is, these aren't secrets. These are a lot of open secrets that's been known. Aaliyah's mom is in complete denial. I mean, you can't look at that clip of them in the BET segment. They're dressed alike, super flirty,
and won't answer the question, are y'all together?
Are y'all? You can't look at that and say, oh, hey, there's.
If I'm the mama and the daddy, hell no, they ain't together.
I mean, there's a lot of failing of the children that took place around R. Kelly.
Again, folks, second part of the docuseries, parts 3 and 4 airs tonight. And then the other final 2 parts airs tomorrow night. And shout out to Dream Hampton, producer on this, of course, a longtime journalist. And she said, bottom line is, she said, I got my eyes locked and loaded on R. Kelly. You also have the people with the Mute R. Kelly campaign as well. And so you got to ask yourself the question, not only at his last piece, before I go to my next guest, in this documentary, they also broke down a lot of his songs, that how they are specifically tied to him being with underage girls, being with, yes, as Julian said, children. So when people sit here and go, well, I'm cool with this song. No. Trust me, there are meaning behind lyrics. Just understand that. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play.